Hey you guys, and welcome back to our series on Google Slides book cover redesigns. In our previous videos, we looked at some research that was done to see what a book cover actually looks like. We looked at some other book covers that I've created, and we started working on our project. Here's where we're at so far. I've used word art to add in my title. I've used word art to add in the name of the author, and I did some Google searches to add in an icon or a graphic that really depicts what the book is about. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create 3 different options for the background of your book cover. Option number 1 is going to be easiest, 2 is going to be somewhere in the middle, and option 3 is going to be the most difficult because it takes the most amount of time. Option number 1 is just taking this rectangle that I already added into our template, which is in the description down below, also available on my Student Schoology page. But I'm going to take that rectangle and I'm just going to change it to a color that makes sense with my book's theme. So I'm just going to go in and change it to a bright pink. This book is all about Katniss Everdeen really exploding, not literally, but figuratively in her world as far as her popularity and what people know about her. Now, I personally don't want to have that white border, so I'm going to extend that pink shape all the way to the outside edge. So, boom, really simple, eye-catching book cover. I could leave it like that if I'm on a crunch for time. If I'm not on a super crunch for time and I want to get a little bit more fancy, I can click back on that background. In my fill color, instead of choosing something that's already here, I could customize it. And inside that customization, I can choose whatever color I want. I really don't want that, so I'm just going to leave it right here. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is to create a gradient in the background. So I'm just going to add in another shape. I'm going to do that off to the side. And let's see if I can fill in this color. And instead of going to solid, I'm going to choose my gradient tab. So again, I can choose any preset or I can choose a custom gradient. And this is where I can get really creative. So I'm going to click on that box and right here, and I'm just going to choose a color. Looks like my screen is kind of cutting off what I can see. That's a bummer. So let's see. I know down below I can customize it, but it's not letting me right now, which is a bummer. And those are the pros and the cons, I guess, of working on a laptop. And let's see, we'll go to a blue. And then this one, I'm just going to click on that box off to the side. And I definitely don't want it to be gray. How about like a green? I have no idea how that works with my theme. I'm definitely not going to stick with this one in the long run, but that is how I could add in a custom gradient. Again, this is something that I'm going to have to create it and right-click on it, order, and I'm going to send that to the back. And then I'm just going to take that one and move it off to the side. And that is a possible book cover background. Don't like it, so I'm going to put that pink one right back in. So option number 2, gradient. Play around with it. It's a really fun tool. And then my third and final option is actually inserting an image from a Google image search. So I was looking at my sample, and for some reason when I looked at my sample, I thought of a sunset. So that's what I did for my Google search. Here's the tab. So I typed in sunset photo, and I got a lot of pictures. One thing I'm going to want to do before I start narrowing down these pictures is I'm going to use the tools available in Google, and I'm going to update the usage rights. I'm going to change it to labeled for reuse because that's actually what I am doing with this one. I'm reusing it and I'm not asking the photographer for permission. So let's see what that does for my options. Notice that none of really what was on my screen before is there now. So now I'm just going to scroll through. I'm not looking at the proportion or the shape of the image, just really looking at the image. This one would make absolutely no sense. Nowhere in the book is Katniss ever swinging on a swing below a tree, so I'm definitely not going to go with that one. Kind of like this one of the sun glowing, but I know that we also never really see the ocean in Catching Fire because I read the book. I have some context for what it's about, so I'm going to have to keep looking. This one with the clouds kind of rolling in over the sunset is really just continuing to grab my attention, so I'll probably end up coming back to that one unless something else is more interesting. I'm not going to scroll forever on this. It's so easy when we're looking at Google Images to just get sucked in and keep looking, and we don't want to do that for an entire class period or 20 minutes. Plus my video would get really boring if I did that. So here I am, I'm scrolling back up to the top to that one that first grabbed my attention. So I really like that one. Kind of looks upside down. It's kind of trippy, but that's okay. I'm going to actually take this one and do that same technique from the previous video. I'm clicking my mouse and I'm bringing it up to my book jacket tab and I'm just dropping it in. Now you're going to want to be tempted to change the picture's proportions to fit your screen. Don't do that. Look at what's happening with my picture. It's getting all blurry. It's getting all pixelated. I really don't want to mess with the proportions. So I'm going to go in and undo all of that. Control Z, tap the Z for each time I undo. I never want to change the proportions of an image like that. So now I'm going to bring it up to the top and I'm going to slide it down. I have to keep it this height, but now with my image selected, I'm going to choose the crop image tool to make the image fit on to the background of my book cover. And notice I keep getting those red lines coming up. That's where my book cover is. So that could be it, but it's probably this one. Nope, not quite. That's all right. I'll just slide it back out. So this is the part that I can choose. Now I could take this and slide my picture from side to side if I want more of the sun centered. Whoops, I moved it down. If I want it off to the side, if I want it not showing at all, I could choose that. Although I chose a sunset picture, so that'd be kind of weird. I'm going to leave the sun right off to the right. So I like the size of the image. The cropping looks pretty good. Now to finalize my crop, it's kind of weird. We just click in the white background. Boom. Now, because this was the last thing I added, I have to move it backwards. I'm not going to take forever and go back and back and back. I'm just going to send it right to the back. I'm going to take this one, move it off to the side because I'm not sure if I hate it yet. I might like it still. I'm going to take this one. I hate this one, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to check out what I got going on. So, I can't really decide. I got this cool photograph. I have my nice plain red. It really ties in with my first book I made in the series. I am going to, right now, leave the two options up on my screen. In another video, I will go in and fine-tune my book cover, finalizing it, looking at my grading rubric on my own time to make sure it's really meeting all of those design requirements that were asked.